I always thought that once I had 100,000 subscribers, or maybe after I'd been vlogging for a year or more, then finally I would not feel awkward filming myself in public. But that was a lie. I definitely still feel awkward. But I have learned ways to cope with that feeling and film anyway. This is just one example of the many things that YouTubers don't really tell you about vlogging. The unspoken tricks of the trade that we all seem to learn eventually, but no one is really talking about. Well, you know me. I'm gonna talk about them. I'm all about exposing the behind the scenes world of being a content creator to make it a little bit less intimidating for you. Because even though it might seem awkward or scary, I believe in you. You can make vlogs, and they're gonna be really good ones. So today I'm gonna tell you what nobody else tells you about vlogging. Starting with one that I get asked about a lot, which is how to not act like a total jerk when you're filming around strangers out in public. Oh, and by the way, thanks to Insta360 for sponsoring today's video. We'll chat more about them in a minute. Can I film other people in public? Should I ask them first? What's the polite thing to do? What am I allowed to do? Whenever I film myself going out to local coffee shops or restaurants, I often get comments from you guys asking about this. We're gonna talk about my personal ethics and approach to this in just a minute, but first I thought it's worth mentioning the actual real life laws about this are gonna vary from country to country. For example, in my home country of Canada, it is completely and fully legal to film anyone and anything visible from public. So if you're in a public space, like on the street, in a park, even in a restaurant, it is fully legal to film whatever you see there. Think about the kind of B-roll shots that you see on the nightly news of people walking down the street or whatever it might be. That's totally legal to film. However, private property owners are allowed to set their own rules about these things, and they can stop you from taking photos or videos. It can actually be a lot more nuanced and complicated than the way I've just explained it, so I'm gonna link a video in the description of a lawyer discussing this specific Canadian law. But I recommend looking into this for your own country if you're interested. Now, I don't know about you, but my personal moral standards are not just like, oh, well, as long as it's legal, it's totally fine to do. So let's talk about my personal approach to this. Let's break it down into a few categories. People in the background. So when I'm vlogging and there happen to be people behind me, let's say I'm walking down the street and there's people also walking down the street and I'm talking to the camera, I'm personally not gonna worry too much about this. If their face is on screen for a prolonged amount of time and they're really identifiable, then I would go ahead and blur them out. But if you barely see them and they're just passing by me, I'm not gonna freak out about it. Category number 2, filming people in your B-roll. If it's a large crowd of people at a concert or an event, for example, and no one in particular is overly identifiable, I think it's fine. Now, I do take special care not to film children, and if they would end up in the background somewhere and their face was identifiable, I would make sure to blur them. And when it comes to more like public figures like street performers, buskers, tour guides, I'm gonna make a point of always leaving them a tip if I'm gonna film them and include a B-roll clip of them in my vlog. Now remember, this is all for B-roll clips, so clips probably without audio that are gonna be on screen for like 3 to 5 seconds. The next category is for what we'll call featured characters. If someone is gonna be featured in my video, like they're on screen for a prolonged amount of time, I actually show them talking, they're gonna be named, I'll ask them first and kind of give them an idea of what my vision for the video is and make sure that they know it's totally cool for them to say no. So let's go through a couple examples. Say I walk into a coffee shop and I want to film some B-roll for my vlog. I might say to the barista, hey, I'm just making a vlog of my day. Do you mind if I film while you make my drink? No worries if not. If you don't have the chance to ask this because they're busy and you don't want to interrupt them, that's totally fair. Personally, I think it's okay if you grab atmospheric shots of the cafe, maybe close-ups of their hands while they're like steaming the milk or whatever. But I get that can be borderline. You might feel kind of creepy doing that, and so, you know, don't then. But again, I want to remind you, it's like fully legal to do this. It's just like what you feel good about. I would say the perfect happy medium is like if you want to grab a top-down clip of them like handing you your drink, that's fine. Generally, you just don't want to get up in people's faces too much, right? Okay, let's talk about another example. Let's say you're going on a trip with friends. This came up for me just recently. I went on a little group trip to France, and before I started filming anything, I just kind of talked to the group and said, hey guys, I'm planning to make a vlog about this for my little YouTube channel, which, let's be real, they all knew about already. They were expecting it. But I made a point of saying, hey, if you guys don't want to be in the video, that's totally cool. Just let me know now and I won't film you. And of course, everyone was like, no way, I want to be in the video. I can't wait to watch it. But it's just good to throw that out there, make sure that everybody's on the same page, and it's going to make you feel less awkward about, you know, filming your friends that have come along when you've made it clear to them what you're doing. So if you are doing all of that, then in my mind, you are totally free to go forth and film yourself in public. And if people are annoyed with you because you're being cringy or acting like an influencer, that's their problem. I think as long as you're staying out of the way, you're not hindering people's experience of a place, you're good. Like, I don't begrudge other tourists who stop for a moment to take a photo of a really beautiful place, so I don't personally see why it would be a problem to stop for a moment to take a video there. Okay, as long as we're not bothering other people, being cringy is not a crime.
So we're out today exploring Dunvegan Castle here on the Isle of Skye. So I thought I would pop out and talk to you about how to cope with feeling awkward when you're vlogging in public. And I specifically say how to cope, not how to not feel awkward, because the truth is you're always gonna feel a little bit awkward. Now, one thing I always swear by, which I am demonstrating right now, is the walk and talk. Somehow it just makes things feel so much more natural if you're walking and chatting to the camera as you go, rather than standing in place somewhere in public. Because the thing is, it's my actual nightmare to just like stand with a stranger right next to me and then like spill my heart out on camera for you guys. That just feels so intimate. I'm like, they're not a part of this moment. They can watch it later on YouTube. That's totally fine, but I'd rather not be witnessed in the moment. Obviously, you can't always totally avoid other people being around when you're out in public. That's, you know, the definition of public. But if you walk along while you do it, it makes it feel way less weird. Also, if at any point you need a break from the awkwardness, just like pause for 2 seconds and get a few B-roll clips, because you'll instantly feel like 10 times more normal to be filming other stuff rather than yourself. So you can just like take a quick break, reset, refresh, be like, okay, I'm not a total weirdo, and then you can go back to filming yourself again.
Some vloggers low-key make it seem like they have a full-time professional cameraman following them around all the time. But the truth is, we don't. You can actually film really cool shots of yourself by yourself if you have the right tools. First of all, you're gonna need a tripod. Even a basic cheap one like this can work great because it allows you to set up your phone somewhere so you don't need to be holding it. It makes a huge difference in making your videos more interesting to watch because you actually get to be in the shots. Otherwise, it's all home movie POV style, which can be fun, but probably not what you're going for. Sometimes getting a particularly user-friendly camera can help you with getting more creative angles. Lately, I have been loving this new camera from Insta360, the Go Ultra. This camera looks tiny, right? Well, it gets even tinier. And it can even film in 4K at 60 frames per second. The coolest part is you can detach this little standalone camera and attach it anywhere magnetic. Whether it's the pendant mount that you can wear around your neck that comes with the camera, or even the side of your van. And you can monitor what your shot is looking like from the action pod in real time. This is perfect for solo vloggers because it allows you to see what the shot looks like while you're in it. So you don't have to do the thing where you run back and forth to the camera, do a guess and check. You can be filming with this and monitoring it with this. So this camera is actually the upgrade from the Insta360 Go 3S, which you might remember I made a video about it a few months back, but this camera has some significant improvements. It has improved battery life and fast charging. You can now shoot in up to 4K 60 frames per second, where the Go 3S could only do 4K 30. And it now has 4K 2x clarity zoom, which helps you to get a larger variety of shots. So not everything has to be super wide angle, you can zoom in, which is nice. And this is huge in my opinion. This one has an SD card slot. Okay, so the Go 3S only had internal storage, which I get there's some advantages to that, but I love being able to pop out the SD card for easy file transfers. And if the card gets full, you can obviously put in a new one. And it's waterproof up to 10 meters. Guys, I'm in Scotland right now. It is like 16 degrees out and I don't even want to think about what temperature the water is. Am I really gonna do this to show you that it's waterproof? Yeah, I think I am.
3, 2, 1.
Woo! Okay guys, I basically just did a polar bear dip for this video, so I think it at least deserves a like, right? Overall, I love how easy to use this camera is, and it really does allow you to get a bunch of creative shots. Specifically while I've been living in the van, the fact that it's magnetic is perfect because I have a lot of magnetic surfaces in here. So it makes it really easy to get some fun angles. If you want to check it out for yourself, you can do that in the description. My friends at Insta360 even got me a special link for you guys. You can get a free 128GB SD card with your camera if you use my link. And thanks again to Insta360 for sponsoring today's video. When you watch vlogs on YouTube and they are good vlogs, you really just feel like you're following a friend around for a day in their life. But the thing that no one tells you is you actually do need to plan out your vlogs before you start filming them. Obviously, this is really gonna vary from creator to creator, but this is my general recommendation. Start with a hook. I know, we are all so sick of trying to come up with hooks for our content. So instead, maybe think about it as a premise or a concept or even a theme. Like, is it a cozy workday from home? Is it a day of putting yourself out there and trying new things? Is it a day of mindfulness and reflection? You're gonna want a way of framing your video that's more than just come and spend the day with me or a day in my life. And then if you wanna go the extra mile, you can craft your intro as if it's like a movie trailer for your vlog. Give a few teasers of what's to come, give people a sense of the vibe. That'll really help with retention. Okay, secondly, you're gonna wanna determine the chapters. When you're thinking about your vlog, let's say the day or the week to come, think about what the distinct moments or scenes are gonna be. Maybe scene 1 is gonna be your morning routine. That's like the opening for your day in the life vlog. And then the second scene is your commute. Even before you film, you can start considering like, okay, maybe my morning routine is gonna be like slow and reflective with some nice like acoustic background music. But then maybe to switch it up, my commute is a little bit more hectic and high energy, so I'll put some music with it to match. Thinking about that in advance allows you to have a good flow of energy throughout your video. What you don't want is for everything to feel like you're at a 10 the whole time, or if the whole thing is just like really slow and kind of low energy the whole time, that's not great either. What keeps people interested is the change of pace. And yes, you can factor that in the edit afterwards, but in my experience, it's a lot easier if you start thinking about that before you ever pick up the camera. Finally, my next tip is for when you're actually in the midst of filming. As you're filming your vlog, think about what the takeaway might be. I know it might sound like a kid's storybook, but like, what's the moral of the story? Maybe it's just a feeling that you want to leave your audience with. Maybe you want them to be motivated to try something new or inspired to build deeper connections with their friends. Whatever it is, I always think that it comes together the best when you're dwelling on what that takeaway might be while you're filming your video, because it might lead you to some reflections or insights that you could share in the A-roll of the vlog, and that'll really help bring it together at the end as well. As cheesy as it might sound, I think having a little takeaway is a great way to bring together a vlog. Like, the thing is, at the end of the day, vlogging is like nonfiction, right? Like, we're just capturing moments that we experience, so there isn't necessarily a perfect moral to the story every time, but having a little like inspirational message or a note to end off on, I just think it like concludes it really nicely. It feels like it's ending then. And it gives you an opportunity to do something a little bit more deep and meaningful than just like the base level, like, here's what I did, like, watch me live my life. It gives you a chance to connect with your audience and like share something a little more. And probably the most important thing that no one tells you about vlogging is that you're never gonna feel ready. You kind of just have to rip off the band-aid and get started. Yes, it's always gonna feel awkward, but eventually it'll start to feel more normal and you'll get better at it. And to me, a little bit of awkwardness in the moment is so worth the memories that you're gonna be preserving for your future self to look back on. Here on my channel, we love to talk about the behind the scenes of being a creator and vlogging especially, so I've got a lot of other videos you can check out if you wanna see more of my vlogging tips, or if you wanna see my own vlogging in action. I do have a little for fun hobby YouTube channel where I document my travels here in my van, so I'll link that on screen too if you wanna check it out. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having adventures and following your dreams, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye!